I'd like to call the Lindop School District 92 Board of Education meeting to order at 5:31 PM, please. May I have a roll call?
Yes. Board Member Jordan Harrod,
Present.
Board Member Griffin,
Present.
Board Member Dawson,
Present.
Board Member Hannah,
Present.
Board Member Morris,
Present.
Board Member Taylor,
Present.
Board Member Williams-Wolford.
Present.
Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, please turn your cell phones to off or silence. And we're going to pause here for a moment of silence. Let this moment of silence be dedicated to peace. I don't think we've ever seen a summer like this. Unfortunately, we have the record in Cook County for the most violence in the nation. So let's pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along. Public hearing. We'll hold a public hearing on the transfer of funds from the education fund to operations and maintenance fund, then transfer of funds from operations and maintenance funds to capital projects.
Good evening, Board of Education, administrators, community members, and those who are on remote. The purpose of this public hearing is to transfer funds from the Ed Fund to the O&M Fund, and then from the O&M Fund to the Capital Projects Fund. At the April 2021 board meeting, the board approved an energy savings project to upgrade the controls, HVAC controls within the building. With that being said, that total amount for that controls project came in at $341,500. In order to pay for the project, the correct way, as per what the auditor advised, so that we are transparent with the community, is to transfer from the Ed Fund to the O&M Fund to the Capital Projects Fund. As part of the requirement for transferring these funds, you do have to have a public notice that is put out in the paper. It had to be displayed in the paper at least 7 days, but no more than 30 days. That was done and satisfied with the certificate of publication that was in board book, that was published in the Sun Times. And then the resolution that was in board book is from our attorneys, stating how it needs to be transferred with the resolution. And then ultimately, there has to be a public hearing for the transfer of funds with this. So that is why we are having this public hearing, to be transparent and to be able to pay for the HVAC controls upgrade that the board approved at the April board meeting.
Are there any questions from board members or the community? If there are none, thank you, Mr. Baranik. Moving on to public comments. We have any public comments, Ms. Suarez? There are none. Thank you. Moving on to FOIA requests. Dr. Jackson?
Good evening, everyone, community members that may be watching virtually and administrators. So we had 3 FOIA requests and all have been satisfied. As you can see on the screen, there was one asking about specific information for rates and starting wages for building secretaries, admin assistants, custodial employees, directors of PR, etc. The second one was asking for the percentage or dollar increase for the fiscal year 2022 health insurance premiums, etc. Mr. Baranik did complete that one. And then also Mrs. Bernadette Soto from the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters requested information, but not limited to the former locksmith service for the fiscal year 2019. That has also been satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jackson. Moving on to item H, upcoming events and correspondence. Board Secretary?
Okay, now.
Not sure if we have any is there any there is
There
no,
are none.
okay, there is no correspondence, okay.
And the events just read.
Yeah. There is no correspondence today, and please read upcoming events individually. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
Cheryl Griffin. I make a motion that the board approve the consent agenda, including payroll for June 16th, 2021 through July 20th, 2021, in the amount of $177,872.55. Activity account reconciliation for June 2021, accounts payable for June 16th, 2021 through July 20th, 2021, in the amount of $648,058.07. Regular open session meeting minutes for June 15th, 2021. Regular closed session meeting minutes for June 15th, 2021. Board of Education retreat open session meeting minutes for July 10th, 2021. Board of Education retreat closed session meetings minutes for July 10th, 2021, and to commemorate Juneteenth as a federal paid holiday commencing June 18th, 2021 for all staff.
And a second, please.
I second. Board
Okay.
Member Hadley.
Thank you. Are there any items that board members would like to review, or if they would like any items removed from the consent agenda? There are no comments or no removals. Need a roll call, please.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
I abstain. I wasn't at the board retreat.
Board Member Williams-Wilford. Board
Did
Mem-
you hear me? I'm sorry, did you hear me?
No, we didn't.
Oh, yay, yay.
Thank you. Board Member Harrod.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Moving on to old business. I need a recommendation to approve the tentative budget, please.
All right, Board Member Hadley. I make a motion that the board approve the tentative budget for fiscal year 2021 through 2022.
And a second, please.
Board Member Brian Dawson, I second.
Mr. Baranik?
Good evening, Board of Education, administrators, and community members who are present with us remotely. If we look at our screen that's present on our presentation here, this is the financial summary of the tentative budget. A lot went into this budget this year because of quite a few hires that were out there, and we had a couple retirements and some leaves with it. And like I said, this is a financial snapshot of it. If we look at this, what I want the board kind of to look at is we now have our beginning fund balances in there. I was waiting on that from the township treasurer. They are in there. That is the first column that you will see. The second column in yellow is our revenues per each fund. And then the next column is our expenditures per fund. And then what our anticipated ending fund balances would be at the end of FY 22 on June 30th, 2022. At the bottom, it gives a summary of where we currently sit with our fund balance. Our overall fund balance is sitting at 10,352,000. And after this year's budget, it would be sitting at 10,241,000, a decrease of 111,000. If we do look though, and look at the very bottom of this summary, it shows what our cash on hand is per our financial profile score. That's strictly taken right out of our annual financial report. And we would have 342.5 days cash on hand, approximately 11 and a half. That would put the district at recognition level, a level 4 in the score for the financial profile. So still doing very, very good. What this looks at though, with that financial profile, we look at certain funds. So that cash on hand of 342 and a half days is based off of the ed fund, the operations and maintenance fund, the transportation fund, and our working cash fund. So we do have some abundance of money in other funds as our IMRF fund and our tort fund, but that doesn't account for with the cash on hand as per what the annual financial report looks at. If we go back to what our revenue assumptions were, I want to repeat to the board as we have gone over these for the past couple board meetings. CPI this year came in at 1.4%. So remember, our tax levy is based on using CPI, which will be 1.4%, which is reflected in our overall tentative budget. I did increase our tax collection. Last year was a triannual year that it was kind of uncertain as to how many tax appeals would be out there with that triannual assessment year. So the tax collection was iffy. It was at 92% for the first half of the collection of our 2021 levy on that. So I did bump it up to 97%. That is what our actuals were based off of with our financial reports from our auditor. That's probably much more in line with what our collection rate will be. So that's reflected in our revenues. Evidence-based funding, that's our state funding, one of our largest revenue sources that we have. I kept it at our base funding minimal, no increase, no decrease on that. The state said that they will be fully funding evidence-based funding. That's roughly 1.37 million. Our CARES round 3 has come in. So this year's budget does have a lot more federal dollars in it because of that round 3 of CARES, which came in at roughly $1 million. It is reflected in our financial summary that we have up here. And like I said, all grants were held at what our anticipated allotments were with it. I wanted to make sure that we didn't over capture funds and we kept them exactly what our allotment was at. And they stayed pretty much roughly the same as what FY 21 was. So there is a couple things that I do still have built in the budget for tax appeals and tax obligations. We have a tax obligation that is out there. As per what the attorney sent in an email is that they might not be able to abstain the request that they have to give back money to the requester. So that will be in close limbo, looking with our legal team, looking at it to ensure that as much revenue will be accounted for and we won't lose any with it. On the expenditure side, we had a lot of movement within the staffing. The biggest piece here is that there was an increase of 3 FTE in special education. If you remember, that was 2 special education teachers and 1 social worker added into the current staffing amount, and then also adding 4 paraprofessionals. This was added to be in compliance to meet the minutes of our special education students. With it, this was closely dissected, and this is what was needed to meet those minute restrictions. So that's reflected in on our expenditures. And then I went and looked at our contracts that we have out there. The LTA has a 3.25% that was already approved in the current contract. And our LSSA contract is currently expiring. It is expired and we will be negotiating that one. But I do have a placeholder in this particular tentative budget at 3.25% on top of what last year's rates were with it as a placeholder. It could be lower, could be higher, but I wanted to put something in there to reflect it. Our insurance rates, even though our insurance was decreased through our cooperative, we did add staff members and the board portion did increase due to the way the contract terms read out there with it. So that is reflected in this current budget. And then, of course, we look at our other pieces, which is our purchase services. That is our transportation, our food service. What is our out-of-district placements? And what are their tuition rates that are out there with it? Those are reflected in here at 3%. I tried to capture, working with the different departments, every single expenditure that we have in here. And then, of course, looking at each individual line item, we went through the budget and decreased a lot of stuff that wasn't necessary in it, but wanted to make sure that there was enough funds in there to make sure that we have the money to make sure that we're having the resources available for our teachers to be able to ensure that our students have everything that they need to learn with it. So like I said, this is a snapshot of the tentative budget. In board book was the revenue expenditures, the transfer in and transfer out line by line with it. I know that was a lot of pages in there to go through, but it did give a comparison as to what was in the FY21 budget versus what was put into the FY22 budget with it. I don't know if you had time to look at it, but if you do and have any questions, please formulate those. I am more than willing to answer any question that is out there for any board member.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. I do have a question. If we didn't have that COVID money, would our fund balance be as healthy? I know it wouldn't be. So think about next year. We got 11.5 months reserved. Generally, we had 14 on the average, but of course, we're down a bit. We talked about that. And that's great. We're still healthy. But next year, is there an anticipation? Would we still be about right here? Or is this just because of that $1 million?
The $1 million definitely helps. That's, it's given the district some flexibility to really focus in on some key aspects as to adding additional technology, adding additional instructional pieces to help the kids out. These would be things above and beyond that you would have to utilize local funds with, where we're able to use them with the CARES money, round 3, and really focus in on that learning loss, which is the key piece that is required within the CARES to address. So we can't just spend all the CARES money on one section. They are really focusing in on learning loss. How do we get the kids back to where we need to be with that learning loss of approximately 15 months?
So that 11.5 months, you've already thought that we're going to spend all that CARES money. So in other words, next year, or put it this way, we're pretty much solid about 11,
We'll
even
be-
next year.
Correct.
Okay,
And what we don't have in here too is the expenditure reports. Remember, we have to expend first and then get reimbursed.
right.
So I have to wait for that fourth quarter to put in the expenditure report, which will then come into the next year's budget as revenue. So that will help. I will probably anticipate, I'd say somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 will come in after June 30th, 2022 from the CARES money.
Wonderful.
So that will help out on a cash basis with those fund balances probably being pretty darn close to 11 and a half. I don't really anticipate it going down
Wonderful.
much more than what we have.
Wonderful. Comments, Dr. Jackson?
Yep, and another thing, thank you, yes. And so another thing that we talked about, Scott, and we worked real hard with, was working with all of the departments. And so everyone's budget has been cut about 25%. It was raised up during COVID when the pandemic hit, because we didn't know what we were going to need or how much we were going to need, but we know we needed to have enough to be able to meet the needs of the staff as well as the students. But this year, coming out of it, and with the restrictions that are being relaxed, so the CARES Act money does help us a lot, but also we were able to reduce in some of those areas that were raised up during the last year.
That is correct, Dr. Jackson. And the two biggest areas that we were very uncertain on was the operations and maintenance piece with how do we open the building safely for our staff and students. So that was inflated, not knowing what that was. And then ultimately during our remote session, we had to purchase additional Chromebooks, additional technologies, additional softwares to be able to do the remote. So that was something that we were able to decrease then and then utilize some of the CARES money to offset then our cost moving forward. So that is very correct, Dr. Jackson, that we did look at each individual area and really kind of homed in on where we could lower the budget.
Thank you. No further questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Any recommendation to approve the transfer of funds, please? Mr. Dawson?
Oh, Board Member Brian Dawson, I make a motion that the board approve the transfer of $341,500 from the education fund to the operations and maintenance fund, then transfer of $341,500 from operations and maintenance fund to the capital projects fund.
And a second, please.
I second Board Member Hannah.
You've already presented. Are there any additional questions from board members? There are none. Roll call, please.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Any recommendation to approve the multi-year intergovernmental agreement, please? Mr. Morris?
I make a motion that the board approve the amended multi-year intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Broadview to hire a crossing guard for the 2021-2022 school year commencing August 19th, 2021 through and including June 30th, 2022, and the 2022 to 2023 school year, August 20, the year. Am I looking at that wrong?
No, if you're looking at it right, August 2022.
To August 2023 school year and August 2022 start date to be determined through and including June 30th, 2023 and 2024 school year, August 2023 start date to be determined through and including June 30th, 2021 to be paid from the educational fund.
And a second, please.
Brian Dawson, I'll second.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes, and so for the intergovernmental agreement, Mrs. Griffin brought up in our last meeting, instead of bringing this every year to see if we could do a multi-year intergovernmental agreement, I did contact the village and they said that it would be fine. They will have it at their next board meeting to be signed off by us. The only things that are changing are the dates to include summer school. Any questions?
Roll call, please.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay. Discussion on July 10th, 2021 board retreat. And I guess that's me, I'm up. The Board of Education participated in our yearly board retreat, and it was facilitated by Illinois School Board Association, Dr. Perry Hill. I think he did a wonderful job. I'd like to hear comments from any board members. And just to let you know, what we did was redefine our goals, revisit them and redefine them. We also had team building activity. We redefined our board and superintendent communication, as well as our board protocols. Thought it was a great, robust day. It went by really fast. Like to ask board members, they'd like to have any comments about that day, Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, I want to start off by commending Dr. Perry Hill. He was really phenomenal. The way he was able to use analogies and even, I suppose the most important thing he did really was to help us maybe see our strengths a bit better and weaknesses by putting us in different groups and having us analyze these different situations. It was exceptional because I remember in my group, the first group that I was placed in, you know, we had our different strengths, but we all kind of agreed on kind of what the common steps should be to attack the problem. And so it just reminded me that, you know, obviously people can come from different ends of a spectrum, but as a board, we really should be trying to attack problems in a similar way, as you know, so we can be on one accord, even if, you know, we disagree with, you know, different outcomes. You know, it was a really good experience showing how you all need to at least start on the same page. So I thought it was phenomenal. Thank you.
Mr. Morris?
Ditto.
I know Ms. Taylor wasn't able to be there. We missed you. Mr. Hannah?
I think Mr. Dawson has spoken for all of us. It was great. Dr. Perry really put his time in to listen to us, listen to what we had to say, and show us ways to make us better. And thank you if you're listening, Dr. Heath. It was wonderful, and look to see you next year.
Ms. Griffin?
Yes, for me, I think the biggest takeaway from it was the fact that it has been so long since the board has actually been able to get together, I mean, in close contact and actually communicate, mingle, and try to do problem solving and so forth. So it was really good for us to get together to do that. But I also feel as though it helped to break the ice among board members also, and that was another good outtake from it.
Ms. Williams-Wolford?
Well, I guess when your last name starts with a W, it's not much you could say more, but it was an awesome board retreat. I share the same sentiments that my colleagues have shared, and especially, you know, Carla, you and I's the longest sitting board members. For him to bring a new spin and presentation style was awesome. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we talked about those goals, and I just thought that was a, you know, an awesome way to finalize the day.
Our 8th board member,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Jackson?
Thank you so much. You know, I think this may have been the best one for me. It was something to be able to sort of think about how it was several years ago, and then just how it has evolved with everyone just moving in the same direction and wanting the same things. And I think someone cheated with a smaller puzzle. I don't know who it was, but we were trying to get everything together. The people who are talking, they probably were the ones, but I'm thankful to be a part of that, and just to have that dialogue and that conversation, and to see just how even our relationships have just grown tremendously. And so I'm thankful and grateful to have been a part of it. Thank you.
Just wanted to mention, I know Ms. Williams-Wolford said that her and I were, of course, the older board members here, longest sitting. And no matter what, it never gets old, and we never, ever stop learning. We always learn, you know, it felt new again. And I agree with you, what everybody said, actually. But what Perry did also was he typed everything up for us. And I'm sorry that you're just seeing these. Please review them. I think that we're gonna go over the board goals. We'll redefine that a little bit later, but we also went over board superintendent expectations. And it's similar than it was pretty the same as it was before, but you have those for your review. The Lindop School District 92 board protocols, I think most of them were the same, but there were a couple of things that this is important to know that we added. Just placing items on the agenda. We pretty much kept consistent with what we agreed to prior to, well, every year we have the same thing. Make sure you ask for items be placed on the agenda no later than 1 week prior to the board meeting. But of course, we know that things come up at a different time. So, we take those when they come up, actually. So we understand that some things can't be defined by a week. Even communicating with board members, we had to talk about that, a really robust talk about that. So please read this on your own. I won't go over everything, but I would like for you all to turn to page 3 and board development conference at attendance. We just talked about how we just wanted us to. I'm sorry. Do you have that? I'm actually on the protocols. Lindop School District 92 protocols.
You said page 3 though.
Yeah, the protocols. Does everybody have a protocol page?
No, this is protocol.
Does it have 3 pages?
Yes,
I
it
got
does.
it. It's okay. Go ahead.
Do you have a 3rd page?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. We'll get you 3rd page. Okay. But it was important for us to I'm not gonna go over everything, but it's important just to know some of the changes. Board development conference attendance. Board members that are registered to attend a conference, we agreed as a team that we must attend at least 5 hours of conference sessions. We know during the ISB conference that we really can't, we'll go on our honor system, because they don't record it. But national conference, every time you go into a conference, it will record it. But of course, we're on our honor system. And we also talked about 1-day attendance at an out-of-state conference will not be permitted. That's what we agreed on. The district will not finance 1-day in-state conference attendance either. We felt that was a lot of money for 1 day as a team, as well as the 1 day out of conference, it's almost $1,000. So we felt as a team that if a board member could not participate in the conference, then they should probably pass it off to another administrator that could go, or just not use those funds. And of course, the board as a team will consider any extenuating circumstances. That was really the only thing that was added that was significantly different. Please take the time to read these. This is something that we don't necessarily, we do definitely, just read them. We know you're just getting them. It's basically everything that we went over. And so we'll take the time to write those up and laminate them and have those in front of us like we do those pictures and all those other things, so we can remind ourselves to stay focused on the children. Okay. Any questions or comments at all? Okay. Moving on to discussion on student board member candidate. Really excited about the possibility of having candidates, but of course, I think one particular student scared everybody off, by the way. But we had 2 candidates that submitted their paperwork. Only one that fully, completed the packet. So were you able to get those materials in right now?
No, I was not. I sent you a message and I apologize. That's why I walked in late. I wasn't able to find them, but I will continue looking when everyone's in closed session.
That's okay. All right, so we'll talk about it a bit more during closed session. But I know the personnel team still needs to meet to talk about the details of the student school board member candidate. Also talk about even getting the parental permission and understanding that the parent, so they can understand what to expect. We'll have that all written out also, so the board members can agree with that, of course, but that's something that we'll present to the board and we all can fine tune it. The goal is to have the student in place by September. Gives them enough time to develop a student voice that first month of August, him or her. So we still have a little time. And we did also discuss having the interview with, even if it's one candidate, because it's good experience. And it would be a remote interview to make it convenient for everyone. So you'll receive more information about this exciting experience. I think we'll all have to be on our best behavior too. Not like we're always on our best behavior, right? But especially now we're gonna have a student on this board. Anyway, any comments, any questions at all? Okay. Update on summer projects. That's Mr. Ballantyne.
Good afternoon, Board of Education administrators. This summer, our main focus was on the air quality inside the building. So what we done was install eye ionizers inside all the unit vents and air handlers. Eye ionizers is a device that's electrically charged, that shit off a negative charge, that can trap particles in the air so the filter can collect it. That job was completed, so all air handlers and all unit vents now have air ionizers. The next phase of the HVAC tuning was the controls and the cleaning of all the units. Most of that work, the bigger part of that work is complete. All the wires have been put to all the unit vents and HVAC and all the air handlers. Cleaning is pretty much complete, all on the first floor level. They're gonna be moving up here soon to finish the gymnasium and the library. So we're on target for our completion date there. Another project we are working on is the solar panels. They just started today and we're expecting that to be completed by the end of the week. We're gonna have solar panels on the south wall of the building, right by the blacktop. Also, the other projects we are working on is going to get the parking lot resealed and restriped. That's targeted to be done by the end of the month. And also, we got the gym floor resealed. That was complete as well. Any questions?
Oh, just one, the solar panels, was that through a program with ComEd or we just purchased those outright?
No, if we did get a grant for that, I missed the grant. I don't know what the grant was.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, I remember because we had the one light that was, had the solar panel on it, the one that got knocked down, but that one, you're saying we got.
We initially was gonna try to put a solar panel there, but it wasn't working because they wanted to be on the south.
Right,
facing,
but to
so,
catch the sun. Okay,
yeah.
that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Staffing update.
Staffing
Dr. Jackson.
update. Good evening again. And so the team has really done a good job at really going out and trying to make sure that all of our vacancies have been filled. And so at the beginning, coming into the year for the 21-22 school year, we probably had up to about 10 vacancies. And now we only have one paraprofessional. It is also listed that we have a nursing position that is vacant also. That is only because Miss Nurse Wilson has not completed her designation to be able to sit into IEP meetings, but she has finished her RN. So we're excited about that, and a transition plan has been developed, and Miss Nurse James is going over that with Nurse Johnson. And so in the fall, she'll be utilized to help Nurse James out, but she will also be doing a little bit of a double duty as well and getting that designation. She will still be listed as a paraprofessional until finished. Any questions?
Just want to welcome our new principal who is sitting here, Dr. Jeremiah. I'll let you.
All right,
I know
so
this-
we have Dr. Jeremiah, and so that was one of the most exciting hires that we were able to bring, and Dr. Jeremiah just comes to us with a wealth of experience. She's worked in Proviso West, she's worked at North Lawndale, she's seen scores just rise and skyrocket under her leadership. In Proviso West, she was instrumental in helping with the International Baccalaureate Program, which allows our children to go in and to be able to take AP courses a little faster than normal if you went through the normal track. It is the middle years program, which we would hope to have at Lindop very soon. We are already starting that. We have it with the Spanish as well as with the algebra, so it's already been started. We just hope to be able to add on to that, as well as National Blue Ribbon. She was instrumental in working on that with that design team for PMSA. And she was, before she came to us, she was also working on that project with Proviso West to hopefully get them to that status as well. So I am excited. She has met with the team. Everyone has welcomed her. She had an opportunity to be able to transition with Dr. Spalding. And so she is ready to go. I keep saying, I'm so excited about the new year. And she keeps saying, slow it down just a little bit. But we know that she is excited as well. August 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. outside on the blacktop. We will meet for a meet and greet. And we are having RSVPs sent back from the community. So we'll know how to set up. In the event of inclement weather, we will be here in the gymnasium. And so, Dr. Jeremiah.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, administrators, any staff members, committee members who are joining us virtually. I'll be brief, but I am so excited to be joining the Lindop family. I have received a warm welcome since I've been here. The transition has been really helpful in getting me acclimated to the school. I'm eager to get to work with everyone. I'm eager to support the board goals and to continue to improve student success here at Lindop. So thank you so much for the warm welcome, and I'm excited about this new year.
Thank you. We're on a new business, getting closer to that basketball game, Mr. Morris. Discussion on administrative retreat to be paid for from Title II grants. Dr. Jackson.
Retreat, we normally have one every year. This last year has been difficult in so many ways and challenging. Just the mental of the administrators as a whole, everyone pulling together, trying to make sure that everyone is okay and making sure that we are still servicing children at 100% capacity. Having conversations, and some of those came from the stay interviews, but a lot of them are just coming from day to day. I'm saying that we need to just be able to recalibrate and do something a little differently. And so we will be having a 3-day retreat, and it will focus on implicit bias. That will also be carried through to the staff, but we will be trained first. And then the second day will be the legal updates from Robin Schwartz, anything that we need to be aware of with any changes as far as it relates to policy in the different areas. For example, for finance or instruction or buildings and grounds, et cetera, but to make sure that we have all of that information as things are changing, and specifically with Title IX, as that has changed with the new election of the President of the United States. Day 3 will be all focused on team building. And I am also, we have also brought in someone to be able to just meet with us individually, just for a little bit of personal therapy. And so we are excited about this, excited to be able to plan for the new year, but also realizing that we just need to sometimes just take a breath and step back. And so Mrs. Suarez will also be a member of that, as she is a member of our team as well. It will be in Oak Brook, and it will be from 8 to 4 on those 3 days. Are there any questions?
Was it previously approved?
It is.
There's no action on it. Okay,
Action on this one.
okay.
Yes.
I wonder, can, if we can do anything about it right now, we'll just have to, even if it's okay with the board, we can approve this next board meeting and,
Okay.
Isn't there gonna be two?
any thoughts? 'Cause that was a faux pas, because we still have to approve.
Mhm.
If we can have a quick, short board meeting, a special board meeting to approve it, to make
Just
sure
put
you
as
get
a
it out.
Agenda item only, my apologies.
Mhm, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm just looking at it. Is that okay? We'll get enough, 4 of us can be even on. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Woody.
So we'll just do a
Thank
special
you, Mr.
board meeting
Dawson.
for this. Yeah,
We'll get it done.
okay.
Okay, is that,
Let's keep. it
there's
moving.
no way this could be brought back into?
Not, it's gotta be publicly asked 2 days
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay.
This is an emergency. We got enough time.
We do.
Thank you. We absolutely want you to participate in the retreat.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
as a team.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you.
Thank you. Approval and adoption of the Board of Education goals. If everybody can pull, hopefully everybody has their board goals in front of them. Does everybody have one?
Yes.
Wonderful. I would like us all to read one of these together, not just the board president, of course. We all agree. We actually decided to review all of our goals. And I know that Dr. Jackson is adding action items. But we also add an additional goal, and that had to do with recruitment and retention. We realize right now that that's a serious problem in Illinois. You know, teacher retention, administrative retention, or staff retention in general. So we added a board goal of retention, recruitment and retention. The rest of the goals, we just redefined them, you know, but we're gonna go over them one at a time and just
Can I see what it
read them
is
as board.
what you're referring to as board goals?
Does everybody have that goal?
You're talking about the core values, beliefs one?
No, the goal, theme, vision, activity.
No, I don't have it either.
Does everybody have their
Oh, yes, yes, it's in the original.
goal theme, goal theme?
It should be in the, it would have been.
In your yellow packet.
Oh, okay, separate. Oh,
It-
thanks.
it-
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you did? You took it
Got
out?
it? You have that?
Yes, thank
I
you.
think she put that in the yellow folder.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the one he just gave us. That's the.
That yellow folder.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, you got left out one this time, and now you got left out. We're even now. Okay.
It is the men for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Goal theme vision activity. Just to let you know, this document contains vision activity outcomes encompassing each goal theme district priority area that were reviewed at the Lindop School District 92 Goal Setting Workshop on July 10th, 2021. Highlighted items signify new additions to district priority area, a new vision, and new goals. So board goal themes, district priority areas are, Mr. Dawson, can you read the first one, please?
Okay.
As well as the vision and goals that are part of them?
Student achievement and curriculum. To increase student performance to achieve higher test scores on state mandated tests. Our goals will be to provide continued professional development to staff supporting efforts to increase student performance and provide necessary resources that target academic growth and mastery through student engagement.
Facilities, Mr. Woody Morris.
Facilities to provide facilities that are safe, functional.
What do you got? I don't think she can hear you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
To provide facilities that are safe, functional, and aesthetically pleasing. Maintaining facilities as outlined by the Illinois State Board of Education and Green Ribbon Standard. Continually implement Center for Disease Control and COVID-19 safety standards.
Thank you. Ms. Tanya Taylor?
Program and services, the vision is provide inclusive programs and services that are driven by students, staff, and the community members in order to assist student development. The goals meet the diverse needs of students to increase student achievement. And the second goal is ensure all students and staffs are equipped with appropriate tools and technology to foster greater student achievement.
Thank you. Mr. Hannah?
District finances, excuse me, adhere to balanced budget and maintain a healthy fund balance. Goals, monitor the budget, expenses and revenues. The second goal, provide budget projections for 5 years in advance. The third goal, prepare an annual audit by consistently assessing and monitoring systems along with internal controls.
Ms. Griffin?
Yes, community district relations. You have to forgive me, my sinuses are killing me. Our vision is to foster successful community district relations throughout collaborative partnerships, transparency, and mutual trust. Our goals: maintain continued and frequent community outreach with the district in order to keep the community informed of events, student achievements, honors, and awards.
Have a second, please.
1 second here. To engage stakeholders to complete a strategic plan aligned to all board goals, provide ongoing communication to the community that informs them of the state of district affairs.
Ms. Williams-Wolford, do you have the goals in front of you? Can you read the last one? She's gone? Okay, then that means I'll read it. Recruitment and retention. The vision is to hire and retain at 90% or higher a diverse, highly qualified staff who mirrors community demographics. Goals: partner with a higher education institution to establish a direct teacher pipeline, hire a human resources professional to research options and present data. And that concludes our board goals. Any comments or questions? If there are none, we'll continue on. We need a board, we need a roll call. Did we do a motion?
Did we do a motion?
I'm sorry, can you do a motion?
Yeah, Board Member Brian Dawson, I make a motion that the board approve and adopt the Board of Education goals for the 2021 through 2022 school year.
And a second,
Tanya Taylor, I second.
roll call, please.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wolford, Board Member Jordan Harrod,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin.
Back here, I dropped from Zoom. Yay.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yeah.
Board Member Morris.
Yay.
Thank you.
You didn't get my vote.
Board Member Griffin.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. I need a recommendation to approve the weekly informational checklist.
Okay, Board Member Hannah, I make a motion that the board approve that the weekly informational checklist, WIC, schedule will be revised effective immediately to provide the board on the first and fourth week of each month.
And a second, please.
Cheryl Griffin, I second.
Dr. Jackson?
Yes, so during the board retreat, it was discussed and we are thankful. I did speak with every administrator. We are so thankful to you all for allowing us to not have to submit the weekly, on the week before the board meeting, or after the board meeting. It has been a tremendous help already. And so thank you very, very much. If there's any information that you need, though, you can always call and I'll always provide it.
Ms. Taylor, do you understand what we did?
Yes, we talked about
Okay,
it.
wonderful,
Yeah, Dr. Jackson.
wonderful. Okay,
And thank you for checking.
okay. Need a roll call, please.
Board Member Williams Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yeah.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. I need a recommendation to approve attendance for Dr. Jackson to the NAPSB conference, please.
Cheryl Griffin. I make a motion that the board approve for Dr. Janice Jackson to attend the 2021 National Alliance of Black School Educators, NASB Conference in Los Angeles, California, from Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 until Sunday, November 14th, for a total cost of $1,396.36. Hotel, $838.02. Conference, $205. Flight, $353.34 to be paid from the Title II grant.
And a second, please.
I second Board Member Hannah.
Dr. Jackson.
Yes, so thank you so much. So
Can you
the
talk up? We can't hear
National
you.
Association of Black School Educators has a conference every year. And so last year it was postponed because of the pandemic, but this year it is coming back. I've never attended one. There has been some different roles that have been taken on as far as leadership there. I've been able to hear from a lot of people, and everyone is excited about the new face that it will have, instead of just being a place to just go and possibly do something else other than what you need to do. So equity is the topic of this, and I would be grateful if the board would approve my attendance.
Any comments, questions?
Just a question. So you're not going to attend the joint conference?
If the board says no, then I don't have
No,
to,
no,
but
no,
it is,
no,
the
no,
joint
no,
conference is
no.
after this. The 19th through the 21st is the joint conference, and this is the
Oh,
10th
okay.
through the 14th.
Okay, no, you're good.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll have the conference. California is a hot spot right
I
now.
know.
That's the only thing, but hopefully it'll be okay. Let's just pray it will. If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah.
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams Wilford.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Need motion to approve for us to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Grand Canyon University, please.
Board Member Hannah, I make a motion that the board approve to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Grand Canyon University to participate in their learning, leading, and serving PLLS program at no cost to the district.
And a second, please.
Board Member Williams Wilford, I second it.
Thank you. Dr. Jackson?
Yes, I'm so excited to have met Lisa Mullins from Grand Canyon University. We were talking about not being able to, or not having access to a lot of students in every university that we are aligned with. And it's a total of probably about 18 different places that we have our postings out to. We still could not find any. And thankfully, Mrs. Wolford introduced us to Lisa Mullins through Grand Canyon University. She came in, and what she had was an opportunity for anyone that had a bachelor's degree to receive $18,000 towards their tuition. And if they had a master's degree, up to $8,000 for a teacher's license or endorsement. And so this is working out well. They are also very closely aligned to the Dominican University. If you'll remember, the board did approve for hire Brianna Blake as well as Taisha Triplett, and they have been amazing. Taisha was in our 6th grade science class, and Brianna remains in our 2nd grade class, and they are doing an amazing job. And so as we look to continue growing our own, this is just another notch in our belt. So thank you.
Any questions, any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Go right ahead.
I was over at the PACE meeting, and I mean, they was like, we just love Dr. Jackson so much, because they said that they didn't understand it. The guy said that they was kind of lost at what was going on with it, and she explained it to them. And they just, everybody was excited about it.
Thank you for that information. Let them know next time she's ours. Just- But thank you so much. There are no other comments. Roll call, please.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yeah.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harrod.
Yay. Motion carries. Need a recommendation to approve the 2021 district plan for safe reentry, please.
Board Member Hannah again. I make a motion that the board approve the 2021 through 2022 district plan for a safe reentry to in-person learning for all students for the 2021 through 2022 school year, excluding any students that are medically fragile as presented.
And a second, please.
A second.
That's Woody Morris.
Okay, so for our reentry plan, we did go over this a couple months ago, but there's been some changes. And so Nurse James, myself, and Mr. Valentine will sort of go over those and talk to you about some of the things that we have in place since the newest guidance has come out. Nurse James.
Evening, Board of Education, Lindop administration, and community members who are remote like I am. I just wanted to go over a little bit of updated COVID data information as well as some updated guidance that was released by the CDC. Really quickly, I know that Ms. Joyner-Herod did mention that there are, like California is one of the hotspots in the country right now. Unfortunately, there are some areas of the country seeing an uptick in cases. But right now, Illinois, for the most part, and especially Cook County, and then Broadview and our surrounding area look really, really good right now in terms of positivity rate. We have almost the same positivity rate essentially, which has remained pretty stagnant over the last several weeks. So that goes along with the weekly case rate per 100,000 people, the new case number, and the number of deaths as well, which is something that we normally look at. So while this has kind of remained the same over the last several weeks, that's looked really promising. Another kind of new data point that we have with the vaccinations being out is that right now 44.3% of Broadview residents are considered fully vaccinated. I believe there was another 40 or 50% that are still, they're considered at least partially vaccinated right now. So they haven't been 2 weeks past their second dose of their vaccine. Along those lines, in terms of Lindop specifically, 90% of Lindop staff are fully vaccinated, which is pretty amazing. And then we also have some 7th and 8th graders who are vaccinated as well. A good amount of our 7th graders have not turned 12 yet, but we do have 5 right now that are considered either fully or partially vaccinated. And then we do have 10 8th graders as well who are either considered fully or partially vaccinated, which is really promising. I did want to touch on the Delta variant as well. I know it's been circulating in the news for the last several weeks, maybe the last few months or so. It did come about in India in this past December, but it didn't really start kind of sweeping different countries like Great Britain and India, as mentioned, till really recently. So I did want to point out that viruses typically mutate all the time. This is kind of expected. There's different flu strains every year. This is just something that viruses do. So that doesn't mean that it's not concerning though, just because right now it does account for most of the current cases in the US. So in the hotspots in the country right now, this is where this is the strain that they're actually seeing come up the most. Studies are still being done on this variant, kind of how it spreads, and as well as if the vaccines that are out right now protect against this strain. So they're saying right now, from what they know, they do think that it spreads more easily. But the good news is so far they're also thinking is that the vaccines on the market right now do appear to protect people against this variant. Because what they're seeing is that the people, the states where people are being the most infected is where the people are unvaccinated. So states that have a high rate of unvaccination, like Arkansas, I know Louisiana, Florida, they're seeing this strain the most in those states as well. This was the updated guidance provided by the CDC. IDPH and ISB adopted this guidance relatively quickly. I want to say they adopted it within the same day as it was released. It was released on July 9th. And they did base this off of the latest scientific evidence that they have regarding COVID. So the big takeaways from it, there weren't really too many, tiny changes, but there were some big ones regarding masking and then the social distancing as well. So the CDC right now is recommending that all individuals who are not fully vaccinated should wear masks. So this does include all children ages 2 to 12 who are not able to be vaccinated. And this does include adults as well. Like I said, this is a guideline that they posted. There's no, current state mandates or anything like that. And the other big takeaway point that they had was that they now recommend 3 feet of distance between individuals, which is down from 6 feet. But I know that the state superintendent did say that if 3 feet cannot be maintained, that's not a reason to not reopen school fully in the fall. That just means that the other prevention mitigation strategies that we use should be strictly followed. So that includes our masking, our hand washing as always, and then respiratory etiquette, which just means coughing or sneeze or cough, and COVID-19 testing, which includes the rapid testing that we do offer here at Lindop. So this slide here does kind of show, oh, I'm sorry, was there a question?
No, I was just going to say, but as for Lindop, we will still be wearing our masks and all children will be wearing their masks as well.
You mean teachers and administrators?
Teachers and
Okay.
administrators and yes.
Thank you. So this slide here kind of describes actually what we've been doing since the spring. I know we didn't have our full, student population back for a full day, but we were really successful in what we were able to accomplish with the students that we had in the building during the time that we had them in the building. So the key layers of mitigation that we have, which we're going to continue this upcoming school year, is our rapid testing that we're going to offer. We do offer a screening for unvaccinated people who don't have any symptoms, as well as if someone happens to not feel well, we're able to test them right on the spot. As always, we have our hand hygiene, respiratory etiquette. This has kind of been something I think we've done always, is encouraging others to stay home when they're sick, especially when they're, displaying with some kind of infectious or viral illness, even if it's not COVID. Other things we have in place are our contact tracing, placing people in quarantine and isolation if we need to. Of course, looking at the data, which is something I think we've constantly been doing since last March, and then also encouraging others to get vaccinated. I think it's really promising. I know towards the beginning when the vaccines first came out, we did have some staff members who were hesitant, reluctant to get the vaccine, but after they saw, I think, their coworkers, friends, and family receiving it and, kind of reaping the benefits of it, that they were able to get it as well. I know that Mr. Ballantyne spoke a little bit earlier about our HVAC system and our air quality. Didn't know if he had anything to add here in terms of the mitigation prevention strategies.
Nurse James, good evening again. We're gonna continue just following CDC guidelines.
Need to
Continue
pull it up.
disinfection. We'll continue to use our electrostatic disinfectant sprayers daily. Touched on bases about the HVAC system. We also gonna be changing the filters more frequently now. And classroom setup, we walked the building. We made sure that every classroom with the capacity with 3 feet apart. We got the teachers coming in on the first week of August. They're coming in at different days, different grade levels. We're gonna help them set up their classrooms to how they want it so they can become.
Thank you.
Does that conclude her report? Wonderful. Any questions from any board members?
I had a question, Board Member Brian Dawson. Do we have an established protocol for when and if there is an infection? You know, so if there's an infection in the classroom, does the class stay home for a week, or, you know, it's just that child and then you test the rest of the children? What's the protocol?
Nurse James?
Yes, we've had this in place since last school year. That protocol is not changing. If there were to be a positive case in the classroom, we would discern who was a close contact of that person. So if it's a student, that's why we use assigned seating in the seating charts. For middle school, I know that kind of cohorting and keeping the same group would also be helpful with that to determine who's a close contact. So that would, close contact is still anybody who's within 6 feet of somebody for 15 minutes or more. So once we discern those individuals who are not fully vaccinated, those people would be placed in isolation, and we would offer testing as well. But that has remained the same since last school year. But a whole classroom would not need to shut down just because there was one positive case, if we were able to discern, you know, who was around that student in close contact.
I have one quick question.
Right here.
Tanya Taylor. I'm sorry, Ms. Nurse James, if you have already spoken on this, but I'm just not clear at the moment. So it has been addressed and approved that the students will come back in the fall wearing masks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and in regards to a situation that a child gets sick, you indicated that there's isolation. So for an example, like our pre-K climate. So we might have like 15 to 20 students in a class. You said that there will be a place in a building where those students, that the student that tests positive, they will continue their learning on a one-to-one basis in this particular room?
Well, if a student, so if there was a pre-K student who happened to test positive, they would be isolating at home. They would not be in the building.
Okay, and then how do we determine that the other students are okay? Do we wait for a parent to say that the student has symptoms, or will all the children in that particular class get a rapid test?
So yeah, pre-K is a little different just because of the nature of their school day, and they're not sitting at their desks for most of the day. So that would be, I believe, a different situation. We would offer testing to parents. We would absolutely test them, but if they were, determined to be within a close contact, they would have to quarantine anyway. So we could offer the testing to them, but just in the pre-K classroom, with their centers and everything, if we do find out that, we're not able to, exactly discern if we're in a close contact, we would offer that testing. But that's the testing is also optional. So parents have the option to say, I don't want my child to, be subject to this, but then, they would have to quarantine at home for that 10 days.
And so what's typically happened is that anytime, and even in pre-K, if a child has been symptomatic, Nurse James or Nurse Johnson will call the family immediately and ask if we have permission. So we have a sheet where they can opt in. So we can't require them to allow the children to be tested, nor can we allow any staff member to be tested, or require them to be tested. And so when they're symptomatic, Nurse James contacts the family and asks permission to do that. Some feel comfortable, some do not. In cases where they have not, when the parent does come up with the child, they are then amenable to having them tested, and especially if they're able to just sort of see it. And after that first time, and hopefully that's the last time, the parents normally sign up for it. And Nurse James can talk about how we began maybe with about 14 people that were okay with the testing. But then after it gradually happened, and then if the parent does not want us to test the child, the parent would have to come up, take the child home, have a test, and then they would still be quarantined for that amount of time until they receive the results. And so parents are gradually seeing that it is a bit easier and just partnering with us and allowing that to happen. But it is always at their discretion.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Are there any further questions?
Board Member Williams Wolford, has the administration determined like what percentage the rate of individuals being impacted in a Broadview community before, they start to consider remote again, or has a percentage been established?
So we haven't begun to talk about another percent because everything has been going down. We will follow the guidance of the CDC and the Illinois Department of Public Health. And right now, Nurse James, did you had information for Broadview now?
I did, yes. Were you talking about the positivity rate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it was on I know that slide that had a bunch of numbers on it. The positivity rate right now is 1.39%. And that's been pretty consistent over the last several weeks. It hasn't really fluctuated too much.
So we will continue to watch and be guided by science. Thank you. Broadview, oh.
Yeah. She had it on the first page.
Yeah.
That's it. It's second down from the top.
Yes, 1.39%. And Cook County, 1.3.
Can you hear that, Penny? Ms. Williams Wolford?
Yes, I heard it and I see it on the slides.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
One quick question, just Brian Dawson. If students are either exposed or thought to possibly be exposed and they have to stay out for the 10 days, has the administration already put into place like a remote package for them or something? So they'd be home for those 10 days, a week and a half. How would that be handled?
Absolutely. And so we did have a few students that had to stay out before because they were symptomatic and they were waiting for their test results to come. And then the teacher would just provide a packet for them.
Okay, so
And it
take
would-
home package.
Yes, absolutely.
Any further questions? Okay, moving right along.
I'm sorry, last question.
Okay.
If parents opt out because their child is medically fragile or medical purposes or whatever, not to return back to in-person, is there plans for some type of remote learning to occur with that population of students?
So for the opt-out population, West 40 will be offering a remote program. That has not yet been approved by ISB, but they are currently working closely with ISB to have their program approved. And during that time, they will hire people and it will be under their ALOP grant. And if you remember, our ALOP was for our most at-risk students when they would come in, and that was with West 40. And we have Cianda Brown who works with us through ALOP, but they are going to have some people to come in and to teach. The only difference will be that the students will not be taught based upon their strengths or areas for growth or improvement. They will only be taught the standards. We have had 2 calls so far. We've had a pre-K parent to call where a child had asthma, and Nurse James is looking at that information and getting some more information from the child's pediatrician. And then we have also had an older child in 7th grade that we are currently investigating.
Anything else, Ms. Williams Wolford?
No, thank you very much for that information.
Okay, thank you. Need a roll call, please?
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams Wolford,
I abstain.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the board president report. I just wanted to quickly mention, I attended an executive board meeting with Illinois School Board Association on Saturday in Springfield. I just wanted to update you 3 main things that we discussed. I'll go through it pretty fast just to keep us moving through the meeting. But you all probably received this also. This is, about IDPH guidelines for schools. And what they say is that they actually met, our president and executive director met with Jesse Ruiz, as well as the governor. And the governor doesn't want to do any more mandates. This is what he says, but the guidelines give local schools local control. I don't know if you know, down south, it's the highest because they actually only have, there's 2 counties with only 10 to 15% of vaccinated people. So they're the highest in the entire state. And many of them still don't do mask mandates, but they've decided that each school has local control and we can decide what, each district can decide what's best for their own students. But do we use shield testing?
No.
I just want to mention this. They also talked about the state is offering, testing is also an important mitigation strategy. Shield Illinois testing is now available to all school districts free of charge. And it also includes some type of tracing that's involved in it. Did you realize that? Okay. Tell me about that. And
So, and I'll start it off, and Nurse James, if you would finish that. But for the shield testing, that is a saliva test. And in fact, PACE was considering the shield test. I know Hillside 93 is utilizing shield as well. And they've just come against some issues or some concerns with it. And specifically for PACE, being able to get the amount of specimen that they need may be difficult in some instances. And so they are now going to utilize the Binex now that we use, which is a real non-invasive one in the nose. But Nurse James, can you talk a little bit more about the contact tracing and shield if you are aware of it?
it's free of cost too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm mildly aware of it, I would say. I do know that they kind of have their own, if that was an option for us, if we wanted this, they have their own team, their own lab team, and then their own, I believe, separate team that does, that handles the contact tracing.
Yeah, it really is something because I actually have the website. I'm gonna forward it to you. And there's already, I think it came out, what, a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and there's already 300 school districts that I've already signed up for because it's free. So that is something I'm gonna forward to you. Another thing, we all know that our III conference is gonna be from November 19th through November 21st. If you haven't signed up for your conference, pre-conferences, please do. There's para, leadership training, the Trust Edge, which is really, really popular, about trust, how important trust is on a board. But there's also leading the leaders, being the job of the board president. I encourage people to take that course. You don't wait till the last minute. Only thing consistent around here is change. So take it. It's half a day. Those that might be interested in it, it is something good. You never know what your future holds. And the only thing that's consistent is change. And sometimes we're definitely going to have change, but we want our board members to be prepared. So consider that. Equity is another one. Setting district goals. I thought that was also interesting. Last but not least, the NSBA conference. Remember we talked about work with Illinois State and NSBA. And if they didn't, we wouldn't be able to go to that conference next year. We are staying in. They met our, the number of states got together and asked them to meet these requirements, and they did it. So we will be able to go as a state to the San Diego conference. So that's it. That's all I want to say. I'll move on to you, Any questions at all? Okay, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you so much. And so just a few things as we are moving and rebranding and reimagining. Both Board Goal 3 programs and services. This shows a picture of our WASD students. As you'll look at them, they are sort of on the outskirts. They're flying drones in the upper right-hand corner down. They were sort of drawing out what they would code, but the children were so excited about this. And so that is why the gymnasium was split in half for so long, because they were on one side and the board meeting on the other. But if you look in the middle, these are Spanish children that will be receiving high school credit for Spanish, and they are not done until the end of July, but they have been persistent and committed, and we're looking forward to our numbers to continuously increase with high school credit offered in 8th grade. Next one, Board Goal 5, Community District Relations. Okay, our meet and greet, we did talk about that earlier. And that'll be on August 11th, 5 to 7. We also had a wonderful surprise on yesterday. A former student, Sharana Roberson, Lindop class of 1990. She is the manager at the Home Depot in Oak Brook Terrace, and they donated 6,000 masks, 176 bottles of hand
Wow.
sanitizer, and 2,575 hand sanitizer wipes.
Wow.
Wow.
And this was a surprise. We
That
didn't
was
know.
fantastic.
They just came and they told us whenever we needed anything to come to the Home Depot in Oak Brook Terrace.
Wow. Fantastic.
And that concludes my report.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Jackson? There are none. We're moving right along to committee reports. Finance Committee, we did not have a meeting. We actually postponed it till Thursday, July 22nd, 2021 at 4 p.m. Our next meeting after that will also be Thursday, August 12th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Our personnel meeting is tentatively scheduled for August 12th. That might be changed.
Yes, we're gonna have that to be determined.
Okay,
So we're
okay.
gonna schedule that as soon as possible, though.
Thank you. So we'll get, the board members will be notified about any changes. Okay, PACE Board, Governing Board meeting. Mr. Dawson, Mr. Morris attended that meeting. Go right ahead, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, I went over there. I just want to let Brian know you're not so popular. I don't work for you. You know, this guy here is a very popular young man, doing great things though. I can say that. You know, just he was missed over there at the meeting because, like he said, they making decisions without him. But they just talked about the same thing we're talking about here. They just talking about kids just trying to get back into the building. You know, everything has went up. You know, because I guess they use people's cab. And they, you know, they say that they hit them over the head trying to get these kids back over to the school. Brian is so popular that they changed the day of the meeting because of him. They changed it to Wednesdays.
Are you kidding?
That's the day that he is available. Yes, they changed the day for him.
All right, anything else you want to say, Mr. Moore? Okay, just as far as things accomplished, there's a new associate director, Vanessa Schmidt, previously from PMSA. It's a great addition. So she's the new associate director who's going to assist Michael James. In addition, I believe Superintendent Jackson said they are using the BINEX system because part of it was some of the children there were very resistant, you know, just because of being children who have special needs. Sometimes, you know, they didn't want things placed in their nose or mouth, and it was very difficult, but it actually helped them that they had their own team sent in and they were able to do those tests. So they're using that system, and executive director tells me he thinks it's going to work out just fine. But in addition to the other issues they had, I think one of the most important things is that PACE is fully reopening, you know, and even considering the conditions, PACE is going to fully reopen, just like Lindop and everybody else. Right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That concludes your reports, you two? Good enough. Safety SEL, next meeting to be determined. Policy meeting, next meeting to be determined. Para, again, policy, meeting to be determined. Technology meeting, a meeting to be determined. Negotiation meeting, it's tabled until further notice. I'm sure it'll be coming out shortly. Okay, strategic planning meeting, ad hoc, it will be activated when needed, as well as the bond referendum committee meeting. Okay, need a motion to go, any public comments at all?
No, ma'am.
Board President, Carla, do you want to hear it?
Yes,
The bond referendum meeting, can somebody give me an update? Like, I thought we needed to do something with that so we can move forward with that.
yeah, there's no date right now, but don't forget it moved back a bit because of the new dates that they moved back that the meeting for, is it the March or in March of 2022? So we have a bit more time, but there's not an update right now. I think just tell us a little bit about it, Mr. Baranik. I know that trying to get this budget together and all that.
Just the update for the bond referendum potentially, here, the board requested to have Archon come back out and do a full life safety assessment on the building. They did hire a different architect, a different engineering firm to come in, a new set of eyes to do it. They are scheduled to come in either the last week of July or the first week of August to walk the building and get every single item that potentially would be a life safety issue on it. So that will generate a new report with new items and new costs, which will then drive the referendum potentially with the bond issuance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, moving on to public comments. I don't think there are any public comments. Thank you. I need a motion to go into closed session at 7:04 PM, please.
Board Member Morris, I recommend a motion that the board go into closed session under 5 ILCS 120/2:C, :1 and 2, to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, or performance of specific employees of the public body and collective negotiation matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives at 7:04 PM.
Thank you. In a second, please.
Board Member Hannah, a second.
And roll call.
Board Member Hannah,
Yeah.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yeah.
Board Member Williams Wilford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, all the public who is here tonight. Just kidding. Thank you, everybody, for attending, administrators. Okay. Yeah. You want me to do it with her? Well, we'll wait. She's coming up, right? Okay. Yeah, we're good. Thank you. Just this one? Is there a case?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We'll just go right around. Everybody just reads one so we can keep it going. Okay. Ready, Ms. Suarez?
Yes.
Right ahead, Mr. Dawson. We'll just take our, we'll team this one out.
Okay.
Need
Board Member
motion.
Brian Dawson, I make a motion that the board approve the 3-year contract for Dr. Maxine Jeremiah, building principal, with an annual salary of $124,257 for the 2021-2022 contract year, with a 3% increase in the amount of $127,985 for the 2022-2023 contract year, and a 3% increase in the amount of $131,825 for the 2023-2024 contract year.
And a second, please.
A second, Board Member Hannah.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah.
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Motion carries. Mr. Morris?
Can't call.
Okay, go ahead.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams Wolford,
Yay.
Okay, right here. Go ahead, Mr. Morris.
I recommend a motion that the board approve the hire of middle school science teacher Jenna Finkley at a salary of $61,000 for 2021-22 school year pending formal reference check.
And a second, please.
I second Board Member Hannah.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Perla, I don't know if
That's
it makes
fine.
a difference, but that's not how it's listed on the agenda, the open session agenda. Does it matter?
I'm looking is it the same motion though? I'm
Yeah,
looking,
it's the same
as long as the
motion.
motion is the same, it doesn't matter what order.
Oh,
No,
maybe
there.
that is the agenda then. Mr. Kenobi was second on there, so.
I do understand that, but I'm looking over here.
Okay, go.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's coming up. We're just gonna go follow this along. It's gonna be there. And I saw the difference. Roll call, please.
Who's second?
I second.
Okay, roll call. We have Carla Joyner Harret,
Yay.
Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Aaron Hanna,
Yeah.
Woody Morris.
Yay.
Tanya Taylor.
Yay.
Penny Williams Wolford.
Yay.
Okay.
Motion carries.
I make a motion that the board approves the hire of special education teacher case manager Lori Chauncey at a salary of $45,160 for the 2021-2022 school year, pending successful background check and formal reference checks.
And second,
I second Board Member Hannah.
roll call, please.
Mrs. Williams Wolford,
Yay.
Mrs. Tanya Taylor,
Yay.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Mr. Aaron Hanna,
Yeah.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Ms. Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Ms. Carla Joyner Harret.
Yay. Motion carries.
I make a motion that the board approve the hire of paraprofessional. Oh, no. Let's back up. Excuse me. I make a motion that the board approve the hire of special education teacher / case manager Paula Carl at the tentative salary of $53,205 for the 2021-2022 school year, pending successful background check and formal reference check.
I second the motion. Carla Joyner Harret.
Okay,
And roll call.
Ms. Tanya Taylor,
Yay.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Aaron Hanna,
Yay.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Ms. Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Ms. Carla Joyner Harret,
Yay.
Ms. Penny Williams Wolford.
Yay.
I make a motion that the board approve the hire of paraprofessional Anitra Wilson at a salary of $15.26 per hour for the 2021-2022 school year, pending formal reference check and a yearly salary of $22,706.88.
Tanya Taylor, I second.
And roll call.
Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Mr. Aaron Hanna,
Yeah.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Ms. Tanya Taylor,
Yes.
Ms.
Yay.
Penny Williams Wolford,
Yay.
Ms. Carla Joyner Harret.
Yay. Motion carries.
Cheryl Griffin, I make a motion that the board approve to hire paraprofessional Olivia Pikes
Roscoe.
at a salary of $15.26 per hour for the 2021-2022 school year for an annual salary of $22,706.88, pending a successful background check and formal reference check.
The second,
Aaron Hannah. I second.
thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carla Joyner Harret,
Yay.
Ms. Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Mr. Aaron Hanna,
Yay.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Ms. Tanya Taylor,
Yay.
Ms. Penny Williams Wolford.
Yay.
Motion carries. Penny, can you read the next one? If not, we'll go on.
I was saying you guys have a different list than I do.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
some-
The one with
Thank-
Mr. Kenobi?
Guys are at.
Go, no, go, just go right ahead, Mr. Dawson. Thank you, Ms. Williams Wolford.
Brian Dawson, I make a motion that the board approve John Kenobi's updated goals and contract to reflect title change effective.
That's the Lakeisha Kelly.
Oh, I apologize. Brian Dawson, I make a motion that the board approve the hire of paraprofessional Lakeisha Kelly at a salary of $12.16 per hour for the 2021-2022 school year, pending successful background check.
Tanya Taylor, I second.
And a roll call, please.
Ms. Penny Williams-Wolford,
Yay. I thought all their
You
salaries.
get the amount? You already said the amount, right, on that one?
Yes,
Right.
$12.16.
No, he didn't.
Uh-uh.
I thought the salaries
Okay,
were the
We're
same.
gonna amend that. Remember the total was $18,094.88. We're gonna retract that and redo the motion. Okay, can I give you the? Okay, the date, way to go. The
I thought
amount,
the professionals is just the hourly.
just a second, Penny, he can't hear me. 18,094.08.
All right, so at a salary of, just read this. Okay.
So we're gonna retract that last motion, right, Mr. Dawson?
Yes, I'd like to retract that motion
And resubmit?
and resubmit. I make a motion that the board approve the hire of paraprofessional Lakeisha Kelly at a salary of $18,094.08 for the 2021-2022 school year, pending successful background check.
And the salary per hour as well,
And with a salary of per hour of
12.
$12.16.
And a second,
Tanya Taylor, second.
roll call.
and a roll call.
Ms. Penny Williams-Wolford,
Yay.
Ms. Tanya Taylor,
Yay.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Mr. Aaron Hanna,
Yeah.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Ms. Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
and Ms. Carla Joyner Harret.
Yay.
Okay.
Ms. Williams-Bush, would you like to do that motion for John Kenobi?
Sure. I make a motion to approve John Kenobi's updated goals and contract to reflect title change to associate principal. Is that correct,
Yes.
Jackson? Effective July 1, 2021.
Tanya Taylor, I second.
And a roll call, please.
Ms. Cheryl Griffin,
Yay.
Mr. Brian Dawson,
Yay.
Mr. Aaron Hanna,
Yeah.
Mr. Woody Morris Jr.,
Yay.
Mrs. Carla Joyner Harret.
Yay.
Mrs. Tanya Taylor,
Yay.
Ms. Penny Williams-Wolford.
Yay.
Motion carries. Mr. Morris?
What we got?
Two.
I make a motion that the board approve for, what's that? Rhodesia Martin, paraprofessional, to be utilized as long-term substitute for kindergarten at a daily rate of $175 for the 2021-22 school year.
Tanya Taylor, I second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wolford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Ms. Taylor?
I make a motion, I'm sorry. I make a motion that the board approve to increase the lunchroom monitor hours from 2 to 3 hours per day.
I second board member Head.
And roll call.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wolford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries, and we will make it to that game. Last but not least,
I make a motion that the board approve and accept the resignation of the third grade teacher Lori Chi, effective immediately.
I second.
and a roll call, please.
Board Member Morris,
Yay.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams-Wolford,
Yay.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
and Board Member Hannah.
Yay.
Motion carries. A motion to adjourn our meeting at 7:50 PM, please,
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:50 PM.
and a roll call, please.
And a second.
And a second, please.
By second, Brian Dawson.
And a roll call.
Board Member Taylor,
Yay.
Board Member Williams Wilford,
Yeah, you gonna get to the game.
Board Member Jordan Harret,
Yay.
Board Member Griffin,
Yay.
Board Member Dawson,
Yay.
Board Member Hannah,
Yay.
Board Member Morris.
Yay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you all for everything. Ms. Suarez, Dr. Jackson, and I meant to tell Josh, thank you all so much for everything for the road retreat. You all made it, got there early and had everything ready for us. Thank you so much.
It really was.
It was really nice.
I agree.
I told Josh
Absolutely.
that as well, but